Do you guys remember being single? I
Mhm.
know that for me, that's such a long time ago to think about. But do you remember being young, being single, being carefree, just living your life, living for yourself, just being a kid, being a or a teenager?
Exactly.
And did you ever think about kids, or did you ever think about parenting whenever you were young, before you got married, before you even have a boyfriend, just growing up? Did you guys ever have thoughts about parenting or children?
That's a funny question that you asked because I know for me, I mean, being young and single, you're not even thinking of having a family.
At all?
You're just doing what you want to do. You're working, go to work, hang out with your friends, go eat, spend money on yourself, not have to pay bills or pay for diapers or anything like that. So I know for sure that that wasn't a thing on my mind. But I do know one thing is I remember going to the airport and sitting on a plane, and I forgot what age I am. All I know is I'm still young. I'm probably junior high, maybe even elementary. And I just remember sitting there, and there was a really fussy baby on the plane,
Oh.
and it was the entire flight. And I just remember sitting there wondering, um, why can the mom not, like, is she not doing her job? Is she not able
You
to
crazy,
quiet,
crazy girl.
not like get that baby to be quiet, but like, is there not a way to calm the baby? Like, what's going on? Because in my head, I was like, you know what? Let me get up and let me go carry the baby because I feel like I could, help soothe the
Oh,
baby
you
during that
just a
time.
superwoman, huh?
Well, that's what I thought because, after just like growing up with helping other babies or my aunties and their babies, I felt like I knew everything. I felt like I was
Right.
ready if I was to
Exactly.
have my own.
Right. So what I'm getting, Kim, is
Yes,
that back then you had nothing but the audacity.
exactly.
Right.
The audacity for me to think I knew
Yes.
better.
That you knew better than the mom.
Exactly.
That you, with no kids,
Crazy.
could pass judgment on
Who is a
her.
kid?
Right. You as a kid having those thoughts, that is so disrespectful.
I know, Anna.
And
You're right.
it's so funny because we can say that now as mothers,
Yeah.
but I totally, I'm guilty. I had the same thoughts
Tell us,
as a
Anna.
kid. And before you have children, you think that you just know so much about kids and what
mhm.
parents should do. And so I'm not going to sit here.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to sit here and, say that you're the only one who had the audacity, because I'm
Thank
sure
you.
I had some of that too. For those of you who are just joining us right now, first of all, welcome to another episode of
What Anna Said podcast.
If you're just catching up with us, we're talking about the expectations that we had,
Yes.
expectations of raising kids,
That's right.
parenting, and then we're gonna get to the reality.
Yes.
So
the best part.
right now, Kim just shared with us an expectation that she had,
Yes.
which was, well, more than expectation. It was passing judgment on a mom,
I mean, a little bit.
on a mom with an infant on the plane.
Yeah. I just thought I could grab the baby and the baby would quiet.
Right. And so now I know we're gonna get to the reality later, but I know you know better now. But like I said, I had the same judgments. I had the same expectations, because I remember when I was younger and I was working at my first job, it was at the airport, and I worked with a lot of unaccompanied minors.
Yes.
And so in the airport, you have a lot of time to people watch. It's the best place to people watch, actually, because there's people from all over the world moving and running to make their connections and things like that. And I remember a family walking through the terminal, trying to make it to their gate, trying to make it to their flight. Dad's pulling the luggage, mom is coming with the baby, and they had a toddler. And I remember the toddler was wearing a backpack, and it was
yes, it's the leash backpack,
like a leash backpack.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it's a backpack with it's like a wristlet attached to the backpack. And so so that the kid is always attached to the mom at all times. So when they're walking, the mom is walking and the kid is also walking along with them, attached with the backpack. And at that age, I was 15, 16 with my friends. We were working and we spotted this family coming across. And the first thing we said to each other, we just turned to each other and we said, how could they put a leash on their kid. You know, that's basically you put a leash on animals, not on children.
Yes.
And just completely judging this family on using this backpack leash.
Mhm.
I'm gonna find the right term for that, but
Yes.
you guys know what I'm talking about. And just saying, how could you guys do that? How could you do that? You know, how is that even okay?
I know.
And we started seeing it more and more. Actually,
Yes.
it's actually a thing.
Yes, exactly. And I know I had the same thought as well because, you know, I'm calling it a leash backpack. I know that's not the term for it, but you know, I was just thinking like you do that to your dog. You know, you take your dog out, and to me, I thought that was like how you're mentioning like the audacity for these parents to put a leash on their kid to walk around, and I thought the same thing like, oh, could never be me.
Of course you thought that, Kim.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anna, for sharing. Thank you, Anna and Kim, for sharing, you know, the airplane story and then the leash backpack.
Right.
I know for myself, I didn't really have much expectations. I did have judgments, but I understood mom and her fussy baby on the airplane. So the fact that you thought that,
Sally, let me just intervene here and clear my name off the record also, because I did have judgments on some of the parenting and stuff that I witnessed growing up, but never have I ever been impatient with a mom on an airplane. Kim, explain yourself.
Okay, it wasn't being impatient. It was just, to me, like, for me, I was sitting there and realizing like, wow, this mom, you know, it wasn't impatient. I wasn't.
she couldn't handle her
Yes,
child.
that's what I thought.
The audacity.
You know, but it wasn't. But it wasn't impatient. I wasn't like angry at the parents or anything. It was just how, like, to me, or what I thought my expectations was, if that was me, oh, I could easily quiet my baby or my kid.
Can't wait till we get to the reality of that.
Exactly.
I know for myself, one thing was the similar story with Anna with the leash backpack, working at a family fun center at the time when I was 16. I just remember being a cashier, standing there and watching this mom walk with her son and just thinking, that's a crazy little contraption you got going on. Until, of course, I had children. So now I can kind of understand.
I know that one expectation I had before ever having children was I just had this idea that children were just agreeable little humans, and that what you tell them they will do, and I expected that to be the way that it is. You know, I expected when I saw maybe a kid having a breakdown or a tantrum in the grocery store or at the restaurant or something, I fully expected. Now, let me preface this by saying I had my first baby at 19. Okay, when we got married, we had our baby right away, and so all these expectations that I'm speaking about is from the mind of a child.
Yeah.
And I just expected children to be to listen to their parents, and parents to be able to handle their kid, and that it would just be easy breezy, you know, easy breezy cover girl.
Yeah.
And I thought that that's just the way it is. Life goes on, you know, and that it wouldn't be much of a challenge. And boy, was I wrong.
Oh, exactly. Because I know, Anna, the same thing with me. I thought the same thing going into a public setting, and you see a kid throwing a temper tantrum, and sometimes the mom is either getting on the kid, can't calm them down, or the mom's ignoring him, you know. And I just remember thinking like, please get your kid. You know, my expectations like, come on, mom, you know what to do, mom.
Is that how you talked when you were a teenager?
You know, that's in my head. I was just like, girl, get it together, okay?
That sounds more like you.
Boy, was I wrong.
Bouncing off of those ideas, Anna and Kim, I remember thinking, I do remember now, the expectation of discipline, how I would discipline my children.
Oh, yes.
You guys know how mom and dad disciplined us. And I remember thinking, if I ever do have kids, I'm not going to discipline them the same way. I'm going to be...
I remember you saying that, actually. I do remember you bringing that up and saying, I'm not going to...
That's right.
I'm going to discipline them in a different way.
Because the one that got disciplined the most...
we didn't have to drag that
I would say. It was her.
Wait, Kim. I was wondering, Why am I speaking and someone else is speaking?
Oh, sorry. I just had to
That's
say
crazy.
because that's why she had those thoughts of not doing that to her kids.
Right. And that's also why I didn't want to have children, because
Yes.
I got disciplined the most.
Yes.
Okay. The Grinch had a lot of lessons to learn over the years. And I remember that was the one thing that mom always said. One day, Bunny, one day you're going to have children and you're going to find out.
Oh.
And as a little teenager, the most strong-willed one out of the kids, I'm like, I'm never going to have kids. I don't want to have kids. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now
for
you know,
sure.
Bunny.
Yes, for sure.
Now
You probably
know.
have heard your mom say that once, twice, maybe many times. Wait till you have kids on your own.
Then you'll understand.
And boy, was she right.
That's a true statement. Let's jump right on into the reality of
Exactly.
having kids. So, Anna, you shared about the leash backpack. What was the reality once you had children?
Oh, I'm glad to say that I completely identify and I completely support the leash backpack movement. I'm here for it. I've never owned one, but it's only because I don't see it at the store. So wherever you're getting it from, yeah. But I completely understand. It brings me back to the situation that happened actually when we were younger.
It literally just popped in my mind.
Yes.
Celebrate freedom.
Celebrate freedom.
Yes.
Our family went out to Celebrate Freedom, which is a concert put together with Christian artists that come out, gospel singers, and they come out, and it's a great big thing in a big field. A lot of families come out in the summertime. We have it here in Texas. I don't know if we still have it, but when we were younger, our family would travel out to wherever the concert was, and we would set up our picnic cloth, and we would sit there from morning to night, just listening to all this worship music, and it was called Celebrate Freedom. So we would go there. There would be a lot of vendors and so many people. It was so packed of people everywhere, all around you. And I remember we got up during one of the breaks, and we went, and I think we had like a restroom break. We went to see what vendors were there, and you guys, we turned around and my brother was gone.
Yes, I remember this, and I thought life itself was over.
It was done.
Yes.
I still remember that moment of realization that he was missing, because we were walking as a group and there was just so much much things happening, and he was gone, and he was maybe 4 or 5 at this time.
Yeah, somewhere around that age. And I know, looking back now, bring me that leash backpack. Let me put it on him right now.
Exactly. And so he was missing. We were so worried. And I remember in that moment, I, as a kid, just looking at my parents, thinking quickly and having to get into, their parent mode and look for him. I remember just looking at the crowd. You know those scenes in movies where everything drowns out, like the music and everything just fades to the background, and you are standing there scanning every person, every moving object to look for anything that resembles your little brother. And I remember, guys, and the funniest thing, because he was gone maybe 5 minutes.
It felt forever. It really did.
Felt like the world stopped. I remember that he was found with the security, and my parents got him. And so just in that moment, just in that 5 minutes of my life ending, I was quickly brought back to reality and just the happiness of finding him. But all that to say, if we had that leash backpack at that time, the crisis would have been averted. And I completely understand now. And that's something that is so useful. If you're going, especially in the world that we live in today, and you're going into spaces that are busy and populated and people everywhere. I egg on my face for the judgment that I passed when I was young.
Oh yeah.
I completely understand why now.
Yeah, because I know going into those overpopulated areas or places can be really scary, having littles of your own, and your eyes are like, head on a swivel, trying to keep making sure they're not running off, because those leash backpacks will really help during those times. So at least okay, they're right here, even though there's so many people walking around you.
Right. Kim, do you remember when we went to Great Wolf Lodge? I think that was the first time. We've gone numerous times, but I mean, that was the first time that I lost one of my kiddos. And we all got our kids together to take a group photo.
Yes, we were going to go get breakfast, I think.
We were going downstairs to go get breakfast. I remember grabbing someone and I lifted them up, But I didn't know at this moment I only had one kid in my arm. I didn't even notice that my daughter was still by the tower. We all walked downstairs to the breakfast, and I'm still at this point oblivious that we're missing someone. And then this waitress asked how many people. I quickly count, and I still don't even notice. We walk over to our table, and at that moment when we're about to walk over, Kim's like, hey, where is Puma?
I was like, there's one person missing. There's one person missing.
She's right here. What do you mean? And so I look over, and the child I'm holding is not my child.
It's my child.
I'm holding Kim's twin, one of her twins in my arms, and I was like, oh. I quickly I didn't drop him, but I quickly put him down, turned around to look for her, and I just remember being so
just like
devastated that that this could happen to me, that myself lost one of my kids. But thankfully we turned around, she was right there on the stairs looking over at us. So I ran over and grabbed her.
What, mentioning about a kid getting lost for like a little bit of a time, that brings me back to Halloween, whenever I was trying to find you guys. And me and my kids, my 4, we're like walking fast, so we'll stop at a house so they can get some candy, but we're still looking for you guys. And there was like this big crowd at this house. Like everyone's waiting in line for some reason to go into this home. So then we're trying to walk through it. And I remember I was walking, and there's 3 of them, and one of the Twinkies were missing. And I said, they were like, Mama, where's Chelsea? Where's George? I looked and I said, oh my gosh. So, that big crowd, I went back in that big crowd. I'm calling him. And I remember he was wearing like one of the face masks, so he can't really see. So I'm looking, I'm starting to panic. I told the kids, you guys wait right here at this tree, which is right outside this crowd. The crowd is right here. It's the house, they're all next. It was like a close, gated community kind of. So, but luckily I found him, and my heart just broke. And he was like, Mama, you left me. I was like, I'm so sorry. But
the reality of realizing that you definitely, like, things can happen in a split second.
It really can.
They can be right next to it, and next thing you know, you turn around for just 1 second and do something else, turn back, gone.
Right. Yes.
So I think that was the reality for us.
Oh,
especially thinking, Anna, your perspective on that leash backpack.
Exactly.
Realizing, hey, anything can happen in a split second. So kudos to those parents that gotta do what they gotta do.
And the people that thought of even making that for parents.
They knew.
Right.
Exactly.
How needed it was. Yeah, they knew how needed it was. And it brings up a peace to the parent when they're going around in a situation really like that. Peace. That I've got you right here. Exactly. I can see you. And I can feel if you're getting too far away, if you're lagging behind. Because, people who don't have children, you might think, how can you not notice your kid not beside you? But I'm telling you, especially when you have multiple children, things happen so fast. It does. 1 second really can make a difference.
Does. And going into the reality of things, how I was mentioning, like,
airplane.
like the baby on the airplane.
Here we go, my favorite part.
Let me just get into that reality, okay? Because I remember our first time, and we were flying to Arizona for my sister-in-law's wedding, and we had the twins, and let me tell you, okay, because I made sure to like pack their snacks. I packed their snacks. I packed some like little activities they could do in the airplane to keep them quiet. And it was good for the most part. But I would say on the way back, they're watching their movie, and they're just so excited. So they're like, oh, like making these loud noises, and like people are looking at me. And then if the twins start fighting with each other, they're getting fussy on the airplane, and I'm trying to calm them down, because I know, like, okay, people are starting to look at us, because I know how it is. And I ate my words after that.
So at that moment, you realized that you really, you messed up.
I messed up big time. And, I really ate my words when we came back on our trip from Florida, when we went to Florida this past summer. And my son, I didn't know, it didn't hit until we were on the plane, that he was having an earache, and I think because some water got into his ears. So I didn't have no medicine for him on the airplane. We're taking off into the sky, the altitude and the pressure in his ear, and he cried the entire time.
I do not know that.
And I'm so thankful for
to everybody on that flight.
I'm so thankful for the flight attendant that was on there. She was so kind, and she gave me some hot water, and then a napkin, let it cool, put it to help with the pain in his ear, and that helped so much. So he was finally able to go to sleep.
So shout out to JSX,
Exactly. Yes. Thank you, J6.
a flight attendant,
That's
whoever
right.
that was.
She was really awesome. It
godsend.
really helped.
And we
really
just want to
helped me.
apologize to that flight, whatever flight that is. And can I just say how funny it is that you had that judgment when you were younger? Because if you know us,
Yes.
Kim's kids, they love to. They're not. They cry a lot. They cry a lot. They cry all the time.
They think that they cry a lot, but to me, they really don't.
Of course, they're your kids.
I mean,
You don't notice it. Kim's
I would
kids-
say the ones that did cry a lot would be the twins.
Yeah, we don't need you to say who, what, where. We're telling
Well.
the story now. Kim's
Man,
kids.
There's anyone that's crying a lot.
Stop talking.
Now I know why. Now I know why Kim's kids cry a lot, because of that judgment she had when she was a little girl on the
Right.
plane, a little teenager girl.
Listen, it was I got a little
expectation,
taste. She got a little
Yes.
taste of that. And shout out to a teenager who was on the flight passing judgment on you. Kidding.
You know, luckily on that flight, it was families with kids. It was another family that had kids. So hopefully they came from a place of understanding. Because I don't know either. They might have been like, "Oh, I could do better too." So I don't know.
Well, I don't blame anybody who does, because you never know until you know.
Exactly.
You never know until you're in those
Exactly.
shoes.
Yeah, you got to know by experiencing it.
That's right.
So, with Kim saying that her kids, her twins, were like crying all the time, I know that with me having 5 kids, my expectation coming in as a parent was, I could just quickly soothe them with breastfeeding. Sienna threw a curveball, okay,
exactly.
and cries all the time like the little Twinkies did.
Yep.
So now I get a little taste of Kim's.
Exactly. Imagine if
what
there was
Kim
two.
went through.
If there was 2 Siennas.
No, thank you. But was there any other realities? I know there's so many realities that we each had.
I know that with my expectation of kids just being agreeable and
Exactly.
and easy to handle.
Think that they could understand when you tell them something like, "No, you can't get that," or maybe not this time, and then they might throw a little fit. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was saying was that, like, my expectation of kids just being easygoing and listening to their parents, and then getting to parent and getting to witness for yourself that it's not like that.
Exactly.
Kids are not little robots. They're
Nope.
not little tiny soldiers. They're their own individual person
Exactly.
with their own thoughts and their own feelings and their own understanding. And they're a kid, they're a child. You as the parent, when they're going through their tantrums and stuff, it's on us to come to their understanding and their level and to explain to them what's going on. And the kid doesn't have the capacity to process their emotions. So yeah, maybe they're throwing a fit. Maybe they're not listening. Maybe, and whatever that looks like to everyone else who has the audacity to pass judgment. Yeah, I learned myself. I got a little taste of my own medicine, learning that no, you're raising complete little humans.
Right. And that's one thing, Anna, that I learned with having 5 kids is that not even just learning when I had 5 kids, but learning after I even had 2, is that each kid have their own ways of understanding things, their own abilities, their own quirks, their own little quirks. There's different ways to discipline them too. Like one size doesn't fit all. Okay.
No.
It's not a one size fits all type of situation. I can't apply a certain discipline style to all of them. Each one, I have to understand who they are and their temperament.
One reality also is just, I never had a thought. I didn't think about this before about, I didn't have this idea when I saw parents with children and, seeing them live their lives. However, I didn't understand just how much parents really do live for their children. I didn't understand the sacrifices that go into it. I didn't understand the complete selflessness that it takes to be a loving parent. And it's something that happens just in that moment. When you have your baby and you see that baby for the first time and you see the little face looking at you, and it is a completely just in the moment transformation I love you, and everything I do is for you, and everything I do is for your best. No longer is anything I do
Exactly.
just for my benefit,
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, because I know after having my daughter and just the realization like kicking in, like, wow, I am really a mom. Like, this is not my niece that I can just return back to her mom.
Return to sender.
You know, like, I am the sender. Like, she's gonna be with me for the rest of my life.
Forever.
Yeah, like every decision I make is based on not just myself anymore, but for me and my kids now.
Right. Every decision you make has an effect on
Exactly.
your children.
Mhm.
And I know, Anna, as you shared, the thought process just left my mind. But what I wanted to touch on was me growing up. The life that I envision is completely different than the life that I have right now. You know, and being independent. You know, I can still like it was all about me. You know.
Yeah, let me go ahead
me.
and yes, you be quiet right now. Yeah, Kim, give the mic to Kim. We have some stuff to say. So before you had children,
Yes.
you were the type of person, Sally. Let me just speak to our listeners right now, okay? Sally was the type of person that number one person that would always remind us that she would never have kids.
Yes.
Never.
Yes.
She'd say, "I'll never have kids."
Yeah,
And
that's
then-
why I'll never have
Yeah,
kids.
like anything, anything,
Anything.
the
Anything.
right.
It was
The
just tell-
immediate,
yeah, that's why I'm
the
never
immediate
having
reply
kids.
would be, "That's why I'm never having kids," and so she completely lived her life to prove that, you know.
Exactly.
She decided, I'm going to go to work. These
Yep.
are my goals. I want to
She
go
was
to
a corporate
school.
girl.
I want to
Yep.
do this.
Mhm.
And I'm going to hit this
Exactly.
goal. And I'm not going to be with anyone who sees differently than
Yep.
this. So whoever my soulmate is,
Exactly.
you're going to be on the same page as me.
Yep.
And you're going to follow my plan
Yep.
because I'm not having kids.
Exactly.
And the funniest thing ever is like her having kids, because I had children first out of us.
Yes.
And I had children, and of course I had children young, and I just, you know, it was just, to me, just a natural way of
Yeah.
having kids and whatever. Sally had kids, and Sally, when she was pregnant and she had Makiteli Sampson, her
Oh
oldest,
my goodness.
Sally read every single book
Yes.
on childbearing,
Yes.
on raising a kid, on babies, on Sally was just in there like
Yes.
swimwear on everything motherhood, everything
right.
parenthood.
She really prepared.
Just preparing every single thing that she needed. She was working around her work schedule to make sure that she was including sessions for pumping. She was pumping at work. And then whenever we would come over, she had the audacity to give us like a list of things.
Yes.
This milk, this much,
Yes.
not too much, because their
Yeah.
little stomach is this size. Give them this. He needs this. Not too much of that. Not too much of this.
Yes.
And it's like, aren't you the one that never wanted kids? And now you're the kid expert, and you did all your research, and yeah. So Sally fully dove into her motherhood. So when she says like that, that's how quick you stop living for yourself and living for this tiny human whenever they arrive. She means that. She means that with every fiber of her being, and we witnessed that when she had her oldest.
Yes. Went from me to now it's all about them. Like everything revolves around them.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna make sure they're set before I'm set.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I went from having no expectations to
Right.
now fully living in this mama parenthood,
Right.
having the best time of my life. Like I feel like my life is so much fuller.
Yes.
I mean, maybe full of headaches too and
Yeah.
stress.
Yeah.
but
full of love
it's
as
so
well.
much more fuller.
Joy
And then getting to walk that out with you guys as well, who are
Yes.
also moms and parents. It's just been, I can't imagine looking back, if I had to tell that girl, Sally, at the age of 19, 20, 21, that she would love this life.
Imagine.
Yeah,
I
I'd get
know.
chewed out by her
I
because
was
she
gonna say.
was ruthless.
Sally, 22-year-old Sally is tougher than Sally right now. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm scared of her.
Throat.
I'm scared of
Okay.
22-year-old Sally.
Don't ever tell her something, okay? She go she gonna bark back. Okay, like be ready. Okay, because you're gonna go home crying.
So thank the Lord,
yes,
that He has blessed me with children, because they have changed my life
yes,
for the better.
Oh yes, and another thing about the reality hitting is, not just cooking for yourself anymore, but
girl,
cooking for
you
your
know
kids.
Kim always has to tie in food.
I just
into our
always do.
episodes, right?
And it's like I can't just cook for myself anymore. Like I have to cook for other people too now, and it's just like cooking for them.
No girl
family.
dinners. You gotta have like
no more girl dinners. Yeah, no more sneaking off and eating over here by myself because I only had to feed myself. Now I got to feed 4 extra little ones and my husband included. So.
And girl dinners, meaning like the trend that they had on TikTok about girl dinners.
Yeah, girl dinner.
And it's like you're just grabbing ingredients. So
exactly.
a piece of cheese, a piece of ham, and maybe some chocolate chips and crackers.
Exactly.
And that's
you're good.
That's a meal. No, now it's I need to make sure I'm nurturing them and giving them nutritious.
That's right.
Nutritious, dense meals so that for their body, for their growing. Now I need to be a nutritionist.
Exactly.
I need to be knowledgeable in all things first aid.
Everything. Exactly.
Okay.
Everything when it comes to having
all
kids.
those things. So that's another thing is the reality that I didn't expect coming was that being a mom, you kind of have to know a little bit of everything.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
You have to know enough to know this is a situation I can fix at home. This I need to take to the hospital. I can't fix that. You need stitches.
Yeah, because I know growing up, if I had like a little owie or a scrape or something, like my mom just always knew what to do. And she always made it feel better no matter what it was, And now that I'm a mom myself and my kids run to me, I'm doing the same thing, or they'll come and they like somewhere on them turning, I'll just rub it, give it a little kiss and, just give a little love on it.
Right.
And
it makes it better.
They'll just run off so happy, like they weren't just crying. So it's just
I'm still learning in that department. Okay.
It's
how
just,
to be a little sweet with
it's a little
owies.
It's just crazy like to see us step into that motherhood with our kids and children and just watching them grow.
Yes.
Crazy little human beings.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. And this is our realities, of course. The realities of parenthood and motherhood for others are true for them.
Yes.
So these are what's true for us.
Yes.
And I know one thing about like Sally, we were talking about her earlier and how I was scared of 22-year-old Sally, but kids really do soften your heart, man.
They really do.
They just how you cook meat and you have to use a tenderizer and you just have to
like
yes, and you have to beat that thing till it's
shape it, make sure
that's what's happening.
Yes.
That's what's happening.
Yes.
Okay, to our heart.
Yes,
And they just come and they completely melt.
They really
melt
do.
you. And things that you didn't cry about before,
exactly,
they just turn you into crybaby.
They do. Oh my gosh,
I speak for myself as a mother. You cry so much as a mom because things touch you in such a way.
Yes.
These kids come and your heart just gets bigger and bigger, and it's easier to break.
Yes.
So they completely come and
they
take over.
Yes, they're completely loving, forgiving. They're just such amazing little beings.
Right. Just crying because you love them so much.
Yes.
That's a real thing.
Exactly.
That actually happens.
Yes.
I'm scared.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so true. One thing that became a reality for me that I never thought about before was that I would be learning just as much, if not more, than my children.
Yeah,
not only would I be teaching them things, but they taught me so much more.
Exactly.
So many more things that I could never have learned had it not been through this way, through parenting, learning firsthand from a child. They really teach me patience.
Oh, yes, on the patience.
I know with my son, I know that he teaches me forgiveness on a day-to-day basis. Anything that happens, he's always the first to say, "That's okay, Mama. It's just an accident." Like if I spill a cup of water, if anything like that, he's the first to, "It's okay, Mama. It's just an accident." And so that is always a teaching moment for me to carry and have more patience with them when they have accidents, because they
Oh,
be
yeah,
having
for
a lot of
sure.
accidents.
Yes. That's one thing that that's just with having kids and having little ones is accident here and accident there. But I know also just
Is
like
it an accident or a science experiment on purpose?
I think it might be that too, because I have seen that with the twins. And also just like the reality of having a newborn and waking up every 2 hours. You never really think about it like before. And
Oh,
until
yeah,
you have it and you're like, wow, now when you look at other moms who just had their baby, now you know how it feels and how you really just don't get sleep. You know, those first couple months.
Yes, and you can sympathize with them on a different level that you couldn't before.
Exactly.
And children really, that's one thing, people always tell you, enjoy your sleep, when they hear that you're expecting, especially like, make sure you get your sleep now, all those jokes, and you're like, yeah, no, yeah. It's a real thing, man. And when I say you really live your life for your kid, even in your sleep, because they're waking up every 2 hours, even when they're sick, and you're having to stay up
Right.
with them and make sure that they're okay. Even when they're fresh and they're new, and you're looking at them to make sure their stomach is going up
Right.
and down, and they're breathing when they're laying down. There's just so much that you do not think about.
Exactly. I know. And that's what, like, right now, the realization's kicking in, like, because I haven't had a newborn in 5, almost 6 years, and I'm about to have another newborn. And I'm really enjoying my sleep right now because I know when that
You're
baby
about to start
comes,
all over
I'm gonna
again.
start all over again. Diapers, waking up every 2 hours, and trying to nurse, and whew, that's a lot.
Yeah. Kim's got a whole adventure about to begin
Oh
in,
yes, exciting.
soon in 2024. So Kim may be on, for those of you who watch on YouTube, you're gonna get to see the transformation here.
Yes, we'll see. I might not be as put together after this baby comes, because we'll see.
Right. We might have another little one joining our podcast,
Yes,
just like Sienna does from time to
Yeah.
time. So yes, kids, the reality of having kids were totally stark in contrast from what I expected, what I thought, blew those expectations out of the water. All those judgments came back on my face, like
Right.
just
And it gives us a new understanding of those who are in the same shoes as well.
yes.
Because I know when I was a supervisor at the time, there was an expectant mother, and I mean, it's not the best story to tell because
It's really not.
because I was passing judgment on like you can't even do like XYZ, like it shouldn't be that hard. Yeah.
What do you
and then I got
mean you need to
learn.
take a break?
Right? What do you mean you need a chair to sit?
Right.
I'm just letting you guys know who I was, and I'm admitting that that was
Right. You
not right.
you just
at all.
you could not identify, you
No.
didn't understand.
Mm-mm.
Right. That's the thing about going through things in life, even things like parenthood. There are things that sometimes you have to go through it, and God brings you through certain things aside from just parenthood, so that you can have that understanding, because you would not have had the understanding unless you went through it yourself.
And I'm so thankful for that, because then you also have compassion.
Exactly.
You can empathize.
Yes.
With that.
You can empathize with a mom who's spending all her nights awake with a baby. You can empathize now with a parent who's having a baby with colic. You can truly sympathize with those parents, and you can identify with parents who maybe never thought that they would ever have children, and now expecting their first child, and all the things that go with that. And there's so many lessons learned just from parenthood. I can say for myself, one thing that I'm grateful for being a parent is that it has given me a complete different appreciation and gratitude for my own parents. I don't know if I could ever understand the gravity and the weight of what they have done so that I could be here today, healthy, safe, happy, if not for being a parent myself, because that opened up a new understanding that I never understood. Now seeing a lot of things from a parent's point of view, I can completely understand why it is they did what they did, things that I maybe did not understand that I completely understand now, why they may have chose to discipline in a certain way, and why did they discipline us differently.
Right. Because they
And-
discipline us differently.
Right. And it's because your children are different.
Yes.
And you know, you have to discipline, you have to
On their level, like
right, just
wherever that
according
child is at.
to the child, and
Mhm.
just so many things I would have
Right.
never understood
Now
had
I
I
know,
not
Mom.
have children.
Now
Yeah.
I know.
You know what? Let's go ahead and Mom,
Now
Dad.
I know, Dad. All those times I was yelling at Junior and trying to discipline him. Now I know.
Do you have a sibling who tries to be the second parent? Did we say we're scared? Or did we say that earlier? But yeah, no, really though. Just, you know, Mom and Dad, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for the sacrifices. Thank you so much for the lessons that you guys have taught us along the way, teaching us,
Pushing us
Pushing
to do
us.
things like
right, being
to-
patient with us.
Mhm.
Being patient with us, allowing us the freedom to speak our mind and say how we
Yes.
felt, and
Some of us said it the wrong way.
right. And thank you for, you know, just continuing to hang in there and not
Yes.
turn away once we
Mhm.
got past the age of
Being
obeying
under-
and being
yes.
under your roof.
Mhm.
And, you know, and still, even now, not being under your roof anymore, still taking the time to discipline us in the adult way now, you know, speak to us as adults, and still help guide us along the way. We are very blessed to still have our parents here in this life, and we really understand just how blessed we are to have that. And so I know with our children, they're teaching us every single day. That's our reality. It's their world. We're just living in it. We're just here. And that's not to take away from, you know, us doing things for ourselves. We still, oh yeah, we completely still live and do things for ourselves. But it's just not as fulfilling as the life that we now have come to know with children. This is just so fulfilling, such a blessed life to live. For those of you who maybe you don't have children, maybe you never thought about having kids, and you just and there's nothing wrong with that. Enjoy that season. Sally enjoyed the heck out of that season.
Enjoyed it all the way.
There's nothing wrong. You don't have to feel guilty for enjoying those seasons. But we just wanted to share the beauty of parenthood,
Yes.
and just the funny things of what you think it's going to be and the reality of what it really is, man.
Right.
So have
And you
grace.
never know, some of those judgments you may have
Gonna come back on you.
come back on you,
Yes.
like Kim.
Yeah. Be careful with what your expectations are. Be careful with your expectations, and you know, whatever judgments that you think right now on parents and how they're parenting their children, because that will come back to you. I'm telling you right now, it will come back. Okay, kids.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna avoid it by saying I would never.
Mm-hmm.
Never say never.
Right.
Never say never.
We're gonna end it before Sally continues that Justin Bieber song. Okay, we don't want to do that to y'all. Thank you guys so much for joining us again. Thank you so much for hanging out with us each week. We'll be back next week, Wednesday, with another episode of What Anna Said Podcast. Bye.
Bye.